And so my advice to people in these countries is to leave tonight, because we don't know what this madman in Washington wants to do. He is completely irrational. He is moody. He has mood swings. He says one thing now, and he'll say something completely different in an hour from now, if there is some sort of agreement. There will be no more oil or gas or petrochemicals, and no ships to take those non-existent oil and gas and petrochemicals. And that would lead to a global economic crash that the world has never seen in the last century.
All right, guys, Professor Mohammad Morandi just went live and told people in Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Bahrain to leave. Not tomorrow, tonight. He's saying the moment Trump hits Iran's power infrastructure, everything across the Persian Gulf goes with it. Oil gone, gas gone. And the economic shockwave that comes after that, it makes 1929 look like a minor setback. Now, look, this is not a guy rambling. This is not panic. This is a calculated, deliberate warning sent to a very specific audience. And if the people making decisions in Washington are not paying close attention right now, that is a serious problem. All right, I'm going to let the full clip play first, and then I'll break it all down for you at the end. But real quick, before we do that, if you find this kind of content valuable, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from, your city, your country, wherever you are in the world. Let's get into it.
This, perhaps those watching mainstream media, not so much, but the policymakers, the military brass, and looking at his face and his physical and mental degeneration, Donald Trump knows it too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And in the coming hours, if Trump decides to strike Iran's critical infrastructure, Iran will force them to pay a price beyond their imagination. Iran is prepared for all-out war. It has not shown its true power yet. It is holding back. And all those family dictatorships in the Persian Gulf, in Qatar, these proxies of the regime in Washington, the Emirates, the Bahraini regime, the Saudi regime, the Kuwaiti regime, all of them, every single one of them, they are complicit in this war. They assisted the United States in slaughtering Iranians. They've been assisting the United States for all these years in all their wars, whether in Yemen or whether in Iraq. When they invaded Iraq, these countries, these regimes, they had funded Saddam Hussein in the 1980s. They gave him hundreds of billions of dollars. But when their masters in Washington told them to turn against Saddam Hussein, they did so immediately. So these regimes will pay the ultimate price within hours. As soon as Trump starts targeting Iran's electrical power plants, everything on the other side of the Persian Gulf will be wrecked. And so my advice to people in these countries is to leave tonight, because we don't know what this madman in Washington wants to do. He is completely irrational. He is moody. He has mood swings. He says one thing now, and he'll say something completely different in an hour from now. So we have no idea where he's going to go, but we're prepared for the worst. And we've already shown him that. The Iranians have already shown him that. When the Israeli regime struck Iran's critical gas infrastructure, with the consent of the United States, Trump is lying that he didn't know. The U.S. did know. If he personally did not know, that just shows how ignorant he is. But when they struck, Iran immediately hit back very hard, and Trump was forced to back off because he knows what this means. So if they strike Iran's critical infrastructure, that will be the end of oil and gas in the Persian Gulf. And the same is true for the regime in Baku, which is a close ally of the Israeli regime. Their oil and gas will no longer be exported in the near future. So Trump has to be very careful. Because if this happens, then it no longer matters if the Strait of Hormuz is opened or not, if there is some sort of agreement. There will be no more oil or gas or petrochemicals and no ships to take those non-existent oil and gas and petrochemicals. And that would lead to a global economic crash that the world has never seen in the last century. It will be far worse than 1929. And the world will know that this is Trump's doing, and it is all for Zionism. And if anyone asks, why is Iran striking back at these regimes? Because without their support, without giving the U.S. their airspace, without giving the U.S. their territory, without allowing the U.S. to fire missiles from their territory on a daily basis, there would be no war today. So they are fully complicit. And Iran did not start this war, and Iran did not start striking infrastructure. Everything that Iran has done till now has been in retaliation. So hopefully the madman in Washington, someone will force him to comprehend that the price that he will pay for this is beyond imagination. But Iran is prepared. Iran will not back down. And it is waiting for the 48 hours to finish to see what it has to do.
All right, look, if you want to see the full conversation, I'll drop the link in the description and the comments. But what you just heard from Professor Morandi is not something you just scroll past. This wasn't someone venting. This wasn't emotional rambling. This was a structured, deliberate message sent directly to an international audience. Every country he named was named for a reason. Every warning he gave was specific. And if nobody in Washington is actually listening to this right now, that should worry all of us. Let's talk about the Gulf states first, because this is the part that almost nobody in Western media is touching. Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain. The whole time this conflict has been building, these countries have been presented as neutral, bystanders not involved. That picture is completely false. The U.S. has active military bases inside every single one of those countries. Strikes on Iran have been coordinated through their territory, their airspace, their land, their logistics. All of it has been part of the operational machinery of this war. Morandi's position is straightforward. If you are helping run the war, you are in the war. That is not an extreme take. And the consequences of that logic playing out are massive. Now, the economic argument, I know the 1929 comparison sounds like it's being overdramatic. I get why people hear that and roll their eyes, but stop and actually think about what's being described here. This is not oil prices climbing a few dollars. We are talking about the simultaneous destruction of energy infrastructure across the entire Gulf region. Natural gas, petrochemicals, fertilizer supply chains, industrial inputs, all of it at the same time, with the Strait of Hormuz shut on top of it. Fertilizer comes from Gulf gas. Food production depends on fertilizer. Manufacturing runs on petrochemicals. These are not theories. These are the real supply chains that keep food on shelves and factories moving. You want to talk about pain for everyday people? That hits harder than any tariff, harder than any recession most people alive today have ever experienced. And the retaliation framing, this is where Western media keeps getting it completely backwards. Morandi laid it out clearly. Everything Iran has done has been a response to something that was done to them first. The U.S. and Israel struck Iran. Iran responded. Israel hit Iranian gas infrastructure. Iran hit back. The escalation has been driven from the American and Israeli side. Now you can debate the proportionality of the responses all you want. That's a fair conversation to have. But you cannot look at the actual documented timeline and call this unprovoked Iranian aggression. The facts simply do not support that story. But honestly, the most alarming thing Morandi said in that entire clip wasn't about infrastructure or oil. It was this. Iran knows exactly what it's going to do. Its red lines are set. Its response is ready. Its deterrence position is locked in. The unpredictability is completely on the American side because Trump himself does not know what Trump is going to do from 1 hour to the next. And that is genuinely dangerous in a way that goes beyond normal geopolitical risk. Deterrence only functions when both sides can read each other with some level of consistency. When one side is switching between ceasefire signals and total surrender demands in the same news cycle, that is not a smart power move. That is how miscalculations happen. And at this scale, a miscalculation does not just make bad headlines. It produces catastrophes. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. The U.S. has been shown this lesson over and over again. The belief that military escalation in that region leads to clean, controlled outcomes has been proven wrong every single time without exception. The Persian Gulf is not those places. The economic stakes are global, the capacity to retaliate is real, and somehow the lesson still has not landed. All right, and that's going to wrap it up for this one. If this gave you something to think about, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. And drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from, your city, your country, wherever you are. Stay sharp out there. I'll see you in the next one.